Welcome. I would say pedal aficionados. The thing that we're looking at today is huge. She never said that. I know. It's a pedal version of the 1176. And you're going to say, well, wait a second. Everyone and their mom has a pedal version of the 1176, which is true. But do they have one that actually has, as far as I understand, and I might be completely wrong about this. I don't know. Look it up. The output transformer, close enough to actually the real thing. One company had that, which was, what are they called? Why can't I think of it? Origin Effects. I have it. They had the Cali 76, and the small version, it doesn't have the output or the input. The output, I think, whatever. They have a big version, which is clocking in at like $800, okay? Or something like that. And they don't even, I think, make that anymore, or something like this. If you want an actual 1176 with the in and the out and everything in pedal form, first of all, you're going to need a little bit more pedalboard space, but also you don't have to fork over thousands or hundreds, except for maybe 300, because that's what the Warm Audio Pedall76, which actually is pretty clever because it's Pedall176, but then the L. I'll take it out of the box and you see. That maybe you haven't seen, so let me show you the product shots that we did, and then you can maybe see. Still haven't seen it? Let's look at it, because I think that the name is brilliant. It's beautifully done and designed because it's 1176, but it's pedal. 1176, pedal. Clever. It says Class A FET compressor with custom USA transformer. So it's got the, I want to say output. I didn't really pay attention because I don't know electronics. I just know what it sounds like. And wow, it has the VU meter, which is sexy because that's what the original has. How do I know that? I have a 6176 right there in the rack down there. And I've worked with it for a long time. That is actually a real 1176 with a tube preamp. Now, working with an 1176 is a bit weird because it doesn't have threshold. What is threshold? Oh my God, I'm going to have to explain this again, but I will because I do it in every compressor video. So, okay, here's your wave, right? That's the full size. This is your input. Bong! And a guitar very quickly goes bong and gets, you know, that triangle Christmas tree wave, right? When you're recording it. Well, if you want all the stuff in the back here to be louder, you're cranking everything up, right? Well, but then that stuff in the beginning, bong, is way too loud. And that's gonna make people ouchy or distort your input. You don't want that. So you're telling it everything above a certain threshold, everything above a certain level. So all that stuff here, I want that to be not quite so loud, okay? So you're setting a certain level, which this doesn't have. It does it a different way, right? You're setting a certain level, and everything here is going to be not rising as much as it really does. It still gets louder, and that's what ratio is. So let's say ratio is at 2. Well, that means that's at 4. 2. The lowest here is 2. Usually it's clicky buttons. Here it's continuous. So a 2-to-1 ratio means for every 2 dB that you get louder in your actual playing, it actually only outputs 1 dB. So it is compressing the output. It is not giving you the full output, but only whatever is above that threshold. which means if you go to 8, for every 8 dB that you get louder, it actually only is giving you 1 dB. So it is still going, it is still dynamic, it is still giving you more volume, but not as much. Can you follow me? Okay. Now, if you've tamed your loud bits, which is what we want to do, then everything here is actually like this. Now we can take the whole thing and make it louder. We can take everything up, which will make all the quiet stuff exactly louder. So it sounds like you have more sustain because all the stuff that usually isn't really audible comes up. So there is a makeup gain, in this case, an output, right? And that is getting everything up because you made all the loud stuff quieter. If you go all the way here, you're limiting. Limiting means everything that's hitting the threshold doesn't get at all above that threshold anymore. That is not very dynamic anymore. It's actually zero dynamics above the threshold. Okay? So, attack and release, difficult ones. As soon as I hit the threshold, as soon as it detects that, oh, now I'm going above, when does it do the compressing? So if it's slow to the left, that means that my actual attack still comes through. Why would I want that? Didn't I just say I want to tame that input so that I'm not distorting? Yeah, but maybe you don't want that. Maybe you just want all that stuff to be up, but you still want the spikiness to really hit. Bow, 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 bow. You want the transients to be there when you're funking, but then when you're hitting the chord, you want the attack to be there, but all that stuff to come up. In that case, you're making the attack slower. So once you're hitting that threshold, your attack still is nice and pointy, but then everything blooms up afterwards. In releases, once it falls below the threshold, how long is the compressor still holding on and doing its thing? And with 1176, it's always kind of counterintuitive. It's always kind of in the opposite direction. Now, obviously, 1176s have been used since forever. They are, for me, one of my go-to 2 or 3 compressors, nothing else. It's LA2A 1176 and a Vertigo VSC2, I think it's called. That's about it. On kick drum, for example, sometimes you have the kick and you have that kick blooming and long, and you hit it, but then you still have some of that room tone of the kick. All you got to do is, same settings, you're rolling this thing to the left, and all of a sudden the kick gets shorter and then drops off. So really knowing how to manipulate attack and release, you can shape the dynamic or the ADSR, the dynamics over time of your signal. I know that's a lot of information, especially for guitar players. Now, I said that this thing doesn't have a threshold, and you don't see a threshold anyway. It has an input / comp. They're helping us because on the original it doesn't say comp. What happens is the threshold is fixed. It's a fixed level. So instead of you're giving it a signal and you're changing the threshold is fixed and you're just changing the signal around the threshold. Meaning, let's say the threshold is right here. You're just giving the signal more or less gain. It's exactly the same thing. So we're shoving our signal around that line instead of here's our signal and we're changing that line. It doesn't matter what side we change, we're changing the threshold. Okay? So by giving it more input, we're making the signal louder and therefore more compressed. Those are the controls. You can also turn it on and off, at which point the VU meter lights up. In the back, it gets interesting. We have an instrument input, which is what we're using. There's a buffered or unbuffered switch. You have to kind of point in there with a needle or something like that. There's an input sensitivity if you absolutely wanted that. You have to go in there with a screwdriver, and it's a trim pot. Ground lift if you're using the balanced output going directly to a board or something, great for bass, but we're not going to kill the length of this video with going into bass as well. But of course, this would be a killer thing to have on the table for using a bass. Of course, I'm powering it with 9 volt. There's a level mic or line, Well, right now, that's of course that is of course for the balanced output. Where you're going with it, this is amazing because you can use it as an outboard, real life input and output transformer, 1176. That's crazy. Powered by 9-volt, drive high or low. We're going to find out if it can drive a bit, and this is going to the amplifier, which of course a normal 1176 wouldn't have, because it's not meant for a pedal board. So this technically has more to offer than the real thing. What does it say, meter? Oh, there's also something for the meter, maybe the light. You can probably trim, maybe the brightness of the light. Okay, I'm going into actual amps. We're gonna go into the Amplified Nation Bombshell Overdrive, which is a very, very fine Dumble style amp. Thank you, Amplified Nation, for that. We're doing this with a McMull Heartbreaker, and she will break your heart once you play her, because then you want her. And of course, look at the beautiful purple. She's a custom shop McMull, very nice, going into a super nice amp. Absolutely phenomenal equipment to use for this video. Showing compression is difficult. I will try my best. Obviously, you can use this with kick drum, with anything. You can put this into your audio interface. You can put this into your mixing board. It's technically it's a real 1176 as far as I understand. Cool. Of course, Amplified Nation into the aux with a 412 cream backloaded cab. I have a gate on there, so we don't have all the hiss. Should it get in the way of what we're doing, then I'm going to turn that off. But I don't think so, because this thing lifts the level above the gate. Why clean? Well, because driven signals are compressed. Could you go compression into an amp that's driving? Yes. But the amp itself, when it's driving, is really squishing that signal together, which is why we like to play distorted, because it compresses and is giving us these beautiful long notes that clean we usually can get. Well, we're gonna get it now, because we're compressing it. That's a nice spanky sound right there. Look at that nice angle. God, sexy. I'm trying. So we're gonna go a little bit harder here. Keeping the output there. Let's keep this in the middle for now. All the details all of a sudden are quite there. I mean, that's amazing. Just doing little bloops and then... So technically, if I'm really pushing it, I should be able to have longer sustain and play very quietly, but you're still hearing it at normal level. Of course, now it's also bringing up all the noise, obviously, but that's just, normal. So yeah, all the kids doing all the tappy stuff nowadays, they really want a compressor, trust me. exactly what I said. The transients are harder now, they're more spiky, and I hear the beginning of the note, but it's less filled. As soon as I kick it in, I'm filling. I want to really be able to funk, but I can't. So you should see the needle go down, and as the note goes quieter, the needle comes up and also brings the level up, therefore more sustain. This is fat and thick. It's not like on is a better sound. It's a different sound. You're changing how much sound is there. Really, compression is difficult. See the needle go down and I'm clearly over. Most compressors have like a color LED and it doesn't really illustrate it the same way that this does. That's pretty neat. I should be able to make the guitar sing with it. That's ridiculous to say now because that's what this thing does. So slow attack should give me the transients, but then still the fullness. Did you see how I hit it and then the needle came later? Now the needle should be there immediately. It isn't. Ah, that's just the VU meter then. If you ever want to have more fun playing clean, get a compressor. So with slow release, it takes longer to go back to zero. there's a thing in the back. I think right here, drive. It's on low. Let's go to high. See, where am I? 2 positions, okay. So low again. Is it really driving? A bit. And I'm really kicking it. Okay, I mean, come on. Honestly, Pedall176 or Pedall1176 is a real 1176 in pedal format. Now, it is big, she said, which means if you put this on your pedal board, you will really want to have use for it. You want to make sure that your pedal board space is used correctly. And that means you're probably someone who needs these long, beautiful, clean notes, big chords, playing funk. You're a bass player, freaking get it, no question about it. But that means you could also take it into a studio and actually run mixes through it. Does it make sense? We have really, really, really good software emulations. Well, some people like hardware, you know. At $299, which is the street price of it currently, it's not more expensive than anyone else's 1176 pedal. Some are smaller, some are bigger. I feel much more comfortable with this because the visual feedback I'm getting from the VU meter helps me. And I know the controls because it looks and feels like an 1176. Even though the others have the same labels and stuff, it just makes me feel at home. It makes me feel more at home than Universal Audio's 1176, which is digital and was very driven. It was very dirty. It was a dirty 1176. And this can be slightly dirty, but not as dirty. And I feel when it comes to bringing back that needle to zero on chords sustaining, it delivers. It's a compressor that makes itself heard. Again, given the size, you really want to add that compressor to your board, okay? It's a little bit much, but you could also just have it as a studio tool on your desk. And then, hell yeah, you have an actual 1176 on your desk for a bass, a guitar, have vocals running through it from your mic preamp into this, into a DAW. Hells yeah, because anything else is going to be, in that quality, way more expensive. That's what I gotta say. That's my honest opinion. Yes, they are commissioning this video. They're paying for this video. They're not buying my opinion. That's not what's happening here. And if you didn't like what you heard, well, then don't get it. Or get it, test it, send it back if you don't like it. There's literally zero reason for me to exaggerate anything because you can always give things back. So telling you anything that I don't believe in is completely pointless, right? Because you'll make your own experiences once you get it and then keep it or don't keep it. Up to you. Thank you, Warm Audio, for working with me on this. I'll put links below to all the appropriate shops. Please use them if you want to support the channel. That really, really, really helps. If you haven't subscribed, why haven't you? That's just silly. Please do. And Animals at the end.